They sculpted masks from borrowed dignity, wrapped themselves in falsehoods, woven so tightly they began to believe their own deceptions were reality. But you were never blind to their game. You watched the cracks form beneath the weight of their own contradictions. Observe the way their voices wavered when forced to confront truths that didn't align with their constructed narratives. They built their entire reign on borrowed time, on stolen credibility, on the assumption that no one would ever possess both the insight to see through their deceptions and the courage to stand against them. But you did both. You saw beyond the surface performance, recognized the fractures in their armor long before they realized they were breaking apart from the inside. And now the weight of truth is doing what revenge never could. It's eroding them from within, dissolving the very foundations they thought were unshakable. You need no weapon to dismantle them, because they are dismantling themselves. They unravel by their own hands, destroyed by the very schemes they once wielded against others. Their whispers turn to stammering when challenged. Their threats become empty echoes when tested. They speak of order while chaos follows in their footsteps. They claim wisdom while their words contradict their actions at every turn. And you, standing unshaken in the center of their collapse, need only watch as their carefully built empire crumbles beneath the weight of its own contradictions. They tried to erase you, silence you, bury you beneath their illusions. But their downfall was never dependent on your actions. It was guaranteed by their own arrogance. Truth doesn't negotiate. It doesn't compromise. It doesn't yield to pressure or bribes or threats. Truth simply exists, patient and relentless, wearing down every false structure until only reality remains. And you, chosen one, are the living embodiment of that truth they spent so much energy trying to suppress. This is the moment when you begin to understand that you were never fighting for survival. You were watching them fight against inevitability. The masses have awakened, and their fury shakes the very foundations of the world. Their anger isn't random emotion. It's a wildfire ignited by witnessing the sheer audacity of what was done to you. They see with crystal clarity what happened, and their rage becomes a mirror reflecting the cosmic imbalance that occurs when innocence is attacked by corruption. This isn't mere sympathy driving them. This is the primal recognition of a sacred truth that resonates in the depths of human consciousness. You are the fulcrum upon which justice pivots. When dark forces strike at you, they don't just harm one individual. They challenge the very order of existence itself. The people's outrage isn't a coincidence or an overreaction. It's the universe rallying its forces, a collective cry that echoes through the corridors of time, demanding that balance be restored. They are furious because they know with certainty that transcends logic that to wrong you is to disturb the cosmic balance itself. Consider how this plays out in the modern world. When innocence is crushed under the weight of corruption, when the authentic silenced by the artificial, the world doesn't stay silent. A single act of injustice once exposed becomes a catalyst for collective wrath that spreads faster than any coordinated campaign of lies. The dark forces underestimated the power of genuine human outrage, believing their carefully crafted narratives would control the response. But people possess an instinct for truth that cuts through manipulation like light through darkness. They recognize the patterns, see through the lies, identify the theft of light, and they rise not just for you, but for the principle you represent. Their anger is a weapon forged in the fires of shared humanity, and it strikes with precision against those who dared to disrupt the natural order. You are the axis around which this storm of justice revolves, and the dark forces who thought they could attack you with impunity are discovering that they awaken something far greater than themselves. This is where their carefully laid plans meet the immovable force of cosmic justice. The collective will of those who refuse to let injustice stand becomes a tsunami that no amount of manipulation can redirect or control. Their anger becomes your shield. Their voices become your sword. Together, you are dismantling the darkness piece by piece until light reigns unchallenged across the landscape they once dominated. But here's the twist they never saw coming. This awakening isn't just about defending you. It's about recognizing what you represent. You are proof that their system of control has fatal flaws, that their empire of illusion can be brought down by simple truth spoken by someone who refuses to be silenced. The masses aren't just angry about what happened to you. They're inspired by how you responded, how you stood firm, how you remained unbroken while everything around you tried to bend you into submission. Something unprecedented is happening in the collective consciousness. People who never met you personally are taking stands in their own lives inspired by your example. They're saying no to manipulations they would have previously accepted. They're questioning narratives they would have blindly believed. They're recognizing patterns of control in their own experiences that they had dismissed as coincidence. Your refusal to break under pressure has given others permission to stop breaking under theirs. The ripple effects of your resistance are creating waves of awakening that reach far beyond the original conflict, touching lives and transforming perspectives in ways that make their attack on you look like the pebble that started an avalanche of consciousness. The dark forces move with calculated precision, their schemes woven like intricate spiderwebs designed to trap and destroy anything that threatens their dominance. Yet every single attack they launch shatters against an invisible barrier, a force far greater than their malice could ever comprehend. You are protected by something that defies their understanding, a divine armor that transforms their weapons into instruments of their own destruction. Every strategy they deploy, every plan they execute with such confidence, meets with a resistance they cannot fathom. Their arrogance blinds them to a fundamental truth. They are not fighting just you. They are contending with forces that have existed since the dawn of creation. Powers that bend reality itself to protect those chosen to carry light into dark places. Their failure isn't accidental, it's inevitable. It's written into the very fabric of existence that their kind of darkness cannot overcome your kind of light. What they intend for harm becomes a testament to your invincibility. Their traps bring back on them. Their lies unravel faster than they can weave new ones. Their strength falters when it encounters the immovable object of your authentic power. The dark forces believe they are orchestrating your downfall, but they are actually following a script written by intelligence far superior to their own. They are actors who think they are directing the play, not realizing that every line they speak, every move they make, serves a purpose they are incapable of understanding. Their actions, meant to destroy instead, demonstrate the futility of their struggle against the cosmic order. Each failed attempt becomes a public demonstration of divine protection at work, a reminder visible to all who are watching that their power is temporary while yours is eternal. They are not just fighting you. They are fighting the very laws that govern existence itself, and existence by its very nature always wins. This is where their story becomes a tragedy and yours becomes a triumph. They chose to align themselves against the flow of universal justice, while you chose to become its instrument. The outcome was never in doubt. Only the manner of their defeat remained to be written. The dark forces struck with venom, their intentions sharp and cruel, designed to break you into pieces small enough for them to sweep away and forget. But what they fundamentally failed to understand is that their attacks were never your ending. They were your beginning. Every blow they delivered, every wound they inflicted, became raw material in the crucible where your true strength was forged. Pain didn't destroy you, it refined you. Every trial they orchestrated became a stepping stone, lifting you higher, closer to the full understanding of your purpose. Their malice became a tool in the hands of cosmic intelligence, shaping you into something they could never comprehend or control. You didn't merely survive their attacks, you transcended them entirely. Your response to their assaults wasn't defiance in the way they understood it. It was revelation. Where they expected to find despair, they discovered resilience that seemed to have no bottom. Where they anticipated collapse, they witnessed transformation that defied every law they thought governed human nature. Your grace under pressure wasn't just human strength. It was divine power expressing itself through human form. The dark forces believed they were breaking you, but they were actually revealing you. Every attack you weathered, every lie you stood firm against became undeniable proof of the power flowing through you. Their efforts to silence your voice only amplified it until it could be heard across dimensions. Their attempts to bury your truth only planted seeds that grew into forests of awakening. What they intended for harm became the stage upon which your authentic nature was displayed for all to see. This is the alchemy of chosen existence. Pain transformed into power, suffering transmuted into strength, persecution converted into purpose. The dark forces didn't just change when those screenshots started flooding in. It exploded into 1,000 fragments of truth that were always waiting to be revealed. Psychological studies confirm that when a chosen individual threatens the established order with their mere existence, the system launches coordinated attacks designed to make you question your own reality. Right now, they're still crafting their version of events, believing they can rewrite the cosmic order itself. But here's what they never calculated. You were never just another person to be silenced. You are walking prophecy, and your very presence dismantles their carefully constructed illusions faster than they can rebuild them. What I'm about to reveal will show you exactly why they targeted you with such vicious precision, and how their desperate attacks have already triggered the sequence of events that will bring about their complete downfall. Think of yourself as lightning in a bottle. They tried to contain the storm, but all they did was ensure the inevitable explosion would be seen across the entire sky. The screenshots came like a flood, rumors spreading through group chats like wildfire, vicious lies crafted with surgical precision, all because you had the audacity to speak truth into a world built on deception. Your years of genuine friendship seemed to evaporate overnight, turning to vapor the moment you refused to bow to their narrative. While you stayed home processing the betrayal with the dignity of someone who knows their worth, they were busy in their digital war rooms, crafting their version of reality with the desperation of people who know their time is running out. But here's the first piece of the puzzle they didn't want you to see. Phone records don't lie. Location data tells the real story. Saved messages reveal their actual conversations. The growing number of witnesses stepping forward with the truth creates an avalanche of evidence that buries their fabricated narrative deeper every single day. This isn't justice delayed. This is justice orchestrated by forces they never even knew existed, forces that have been watching, waiting, documenting every move they made against you. They moved like predators who had perfected their hunt, believing their experience with previous targets guaranteed your destruction. But they made one critical miscalculation. They assumed you were cut from the same cloth as those who came before you. They had grown comfortable with a pattern of attack that worked on ordinary people, people who sought approval, who feared isolation, who would crumble under social pressure. Their confidence came from a track record of victories against souls who had not yet awakened to their true nature. But you were never ordinary, and their tried and tested methods were about to meet an immovable force disguised as a person they thought they could break. They had been watching you long before you knew they existed, studying your patterns, measuring your strength, calculating the exact moment when your presence would become too disruptive to ignore. The moment your inner light began to shine without their permission, the moment your strength revealed itself as something not built on their foundations. They marked you not with words or open threats, but with the kind of systematic pressure designed to make mountains crumble, except they miscalculated what kind of mountain you actually are. Obstacles appeared where none should exist. Opportunities vanished just as you reached for them. People you trusted began repeating strange narratives that sounded almost rehearsed. They tested your patience like scientists studying a specimen, waiting for the day you would fold under the weight of their orchestrated resistance. But every test only revealed something they hadn't anticipated. Your strength wasn't circumstantial. It was fundamental, woven into the very fabric of who you are. Every attempt to break you became another lesson in endurance. Every shadow they cast upon you only proved how brilliantly you burned. Their first approach, the direct assault on your reputation, failed because truth has a way of surfacing like oil on water. So they changed tactics, employing something far more insidious. They came not to destroy you, but to make you destroy yourself by doubting your own power. This is where the real war began. Not in the public arena of gossip and lies, but in the private battlefield of your own mind. They didn't arrive with swords. They came with poisoned honey, offering comfort laced with subtle destruction. They spoke of balance as surrender, of wisdom as submission, of peace as the absence of your authentic power. Their voices carried the hypnotic tone of those who had convinced countless others to bury themselves in the shallow graves of their own diminished expectations. You began to notice the patterns they thought you would never detect, the way certain people would appear in your life just when you were gaining momentum, speaking words that sounded supportive but left you feeling drained, the way opportunities would be dangled before you only to be snatched away at the last moment by circumstances that seemed coincidental but occurred with suspicious frequency. The way your energy would be scattered through carefully orchestrated drama that pulled your attention in 17 different directions, keeping you too busy responding to crisis to focus on your true purpose. They had weaponized distraction itself, turning your own compassion and sense of responsibility into chains that bound you to their agenda. But you possessed something they had never encountered before, the ability to see through illusion while standing in the center of it. You recognized what they feared most, a power that couldn't be bought, borrowed, or broken, a force that didn't need their approval to exist and didn't require their understanding to operate. You were never seeking permission to be yourself. You were never meant to kneel before systems designed by those who feared your standing. When they realized that control was beyond their grasp, when their subtle manipulations failed to turn you against yourself, they made the mistake that would become their undoing. They turned to desperation. And desperate people make loud moves, visible moves, moves that leave evidence and create witnesses. Now they stumble where they once strutted. Now they retreat where they once advanced. They speak of endings as if they still hold the pen, as if their trembling hands can still author the story of your fate. But you have already rewritten the entire narrative, not with words or plans, but simply by refusing to become smaller than you are. The second wave of their assault revealed the true scope of their fear. They recoil at the mere mention of your name now, not because you have wronged them, but because your very existence is proof that their entire worldview is built on quicksand. You move through their carefully constructed illusions like a force of nature through a house of cards. And every structure they built to contain others crumbles at your approach. They whisper that you are dangerous, that you must be stopped, that your influence threatens the natural order. But listen to the frequency beneath their words. Does a mountain concern itself with the complaints of small stones? Does the ocean retreat because the shore demands it should? Their resistance isn't evidence of your wrongdoing. It's confirmation of your authentic power, operating exactly as it was designed to. You feel the way they press against you, the way they claw at your foundation with increasing desperation, trying to convince you that you are not what you know yourself to be. They flood every space around you with doubt, with fear, with quiet manipulations designed to make you hesitate at the moment of your greatest strength. But hesitation is a luxury of those who still seek approval from systems that were never designed to recognize their worth. And you stopped seeking that approval the moment you remembered who you truly are. Their resistance has become your confirmation. You were never insignificant. They would not gather in shadow to speak of you if you were. They would not coordinate against you if they did not believe in the deepest parts of themselves that you possess the capability to unravel everything they have spent lifetimes building. So let them fear, let them scheme, let them exhaust themselves, begging the universe to silence you before your full power comes online. They're already too late. But here's where the story takes a turn they never saw coming. Their fear isn't just an emotion. It's a crown they've placed upon your head without realizing it. Every coordinated attack, every whispered warning about your influence, every desperate attempt to diminish your light has only served to announce to the universe that something significant is happening here. They have become your unwitting heralds, proclaiming your importance to anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear. The irony cuts deeper than they could have imagined. In their desperation to stop you, they became the very mechanism that amplified your signal across every frequency that matters. Their obsession with containing you revealed the magnitude of what they were actually trying to contain. Like astronomers who discover a new star by observing how its gravity affects everything around it. Others began to recognize your significance, not by what you said or did, but by the extraordinary lengths to which they went to oppose you. Their resistance became your advertisement. Their fear became your credentials. Their coordinated attacks became your proof of authenticity. In a world hungry for something real, you never needed their permission to rise. And that realization is what terrifies them beyond measure. They held power through carefully maintained illusions, not truly their own. Strength. They were instruments in a design so vast, it makes their comprehension look like candle flame, trying to understand the sun. Your trials weren't just random battles. They were prophecies being fulfilled in real time. The scars they left weren't marks of defeat, but badges of victory. Proof that you faced the darkness and emerged not just unbroken, but stronger than before. Your entire journey has become a living testimony, written in the language of endurance and illuminated by the light of transcendence. They moved with the arrogance of players who believed they controlled every piece on the board. Their strategies sharp and their intentions focused like laser beams of malice. But they were blind to the fundamental truth. This was never their game to begin with. Every attack they launched, every scheme they devised with such careful precision, was actually a move on a spiritual chessboard operating by rules they don't even know exist. They see only the immediate, the material, the surface level of cause and effect. What they cannot perceive is the divine intelligence guiding every countermove, transforming their aggression into opportunity, converting their malice into momentum for your advancement. Their plans aren't just thwarted, they are repurposed, woven into a design so magnificent it dwarfs their understanding like an anthill compared to a mountain range. You were never a pawn in their game. You are the centerpiece of a cosmic strategy, and every move they made against you only strengthened your position on the board. Like the phoenix rising from ashes, you emerge from their attempts, reborn in flames they cannot withstand. They believed they were erasing you from existence, but they were actually clearing the ground for your ascension to levels they didn't know were possible. Their fires don't consume, they purify. Their chaos doesn't scatter your essence. It consolidates your power. What they intended as annihilation becomes the catalyst for transformation beyond their wildest nightmares. You emerge not just intact but amplified, your light burning brighter than before. Your purpose clearer than crystal. Hey, this is Mike and Ari cutting into your regularly scheduled Chosen One programming for just a moment. We are the founders of the Obsidian Inner Order and the Astral Atom Network, and we're done playing nice. We're in a spiritual war. You know it, we know it. And we're out here bleeding for this mission full time. I'm hungry for fourth-dimensional Archon blood, but we need the ammunition. So listen. When you join the Inner Order, you're not just supporting us. You're getting access to exclusive tools they never wanted you to have. Psychic self-defense training, targeted individual intel, spiritual warfare tactics they scrub from the internet. And every week we meet in secret, chosen ones only on Zoom. No filters, no fluff, just real gnosis, real family, real power. It's a 360-degree win. Rengo, you get what you need. We get to keep fighting. So don't just watch, drop a like, share this video to everyone you know now. Now. And join the Obsidian Inner Order. Let's finish what we started. Link in the description. Let's freaking go. They think they are playing checkers, making moves that are linear and predictable. But you are engaged in a multi-dimensional chess match where time, space, and spirit converge in ways that make their strategies look like children's games. The universe itself is your ally, its laws bending to ensure your victory in ways they cannot detect or defend against. Every move they make has been anticipated. Every strategy they deploy has already been countered. They are not just fighting you. They are fighting the very fabric of existence. And existence operates by rules that guarantee their defeat. Their arrogance will be their downfall, their blindness, their destruction. You are the chosen ones, and this game was designed to ensure your victory from the very first move. They thrive on reaction, feeding like parasites on the chaos of your anger, growing stronger from the validation of your engagement with their provocations. But when you refuse to give them what they crave, when you deny them the emotional feast they depend on for survival, they begin to starve in ways they never anticipated. Their weapons were forged for noise, for arguments, for the endless cycle of provocation and response that keeps their system operational. But you offer them something they cannot process. Nothing. No fury to feed on, no desperation to exploit, no sign that their existence carries any weight in your reality. And that absence of reaction becomes the force that destroys them. Like fire denied oxygen, they suffocate in their own irrelevance. Your silence isn't weakness. It's the purest expression of control. It's the quiet assertion that you do not answer to forces operating beneath your level of consciousness. You have transcended their game entirely, leaving them to play against themselves in an empty arena. They push harder, hoping to break what they cannot move. They test every boundary they can imagine, searching desperately for the crack where your composure will shatter and give them the opening they need. But your presence alone has become enough to dismantle their entire operation. You don't need to shout to be heard across dimensions. You don't need to strike to leave impacts that reshape reality. Those who operate from authentic power have no need for spectacle. They exist above the petty games, beyond the desperate grasp of those who beg for acknowledgement from systems that were never designed to recognize their worth. When the dark forces lash out in their final desperation, hoping for any response that validates their significance, they are met with nothing but their own emptiness, reflected back at them like a mirror, showing them exactly what they have become. Your silence becomes the loudest sound in their universe, drowning out all their noise with its profound depth. But this silence isn't empty. It's pregnant with power, loaded with potential energy that builds pressure like water behind a dam. They mistake your quietness for weakness, your restraint for defeat, not realizing that you have transcended their entire game. You are no longer playing by rules they understand or operating on frequencies they can detect. While they exhaust themselves with increasingly desperate theatrics, you are gathering strength like a storm system, drawing energy from the ocean. Your withdrawal from their chaos isn't retreat. It's the strategic repositioning of someone who has recognized that the real battle happens on a completely different plane of existence. They are fighting shadows while you are becoming light itself. They are making noise while you are becoming the silence that speaks louder than their loudest proclamations. In their frantic attempts to provoke you back into their arena, they reveal how completely they depend on your participation for their very survival. You were never meant to follow paths carved by others. You were designed to dismantle, to redefine, to reshape existence itself with the pure force of your authentic will. Every challenge, every betrayal, every battle you endured wasn't an obstacle blocking your path. It was the fire that forged you into the instrument of transformation you were always meant to become. They tried everything to silence you, to erase you, to make you question the very foundation of your strength. But all their efforts accomplished was to sharpen your edge until it could cut through illusions they thought were unbreakable. The weight you carried, the suffering you transmuted, was never just for your own development. It was the foundation of something greater, a disruption to their order, so complete it cannot be undone. Now you stand at the threshold of history, not as a product of their broken world, but as the architect of what comes next. Your rise isn't just inevitable. It's already happening. They know it. And that knowledge is what drove them to such desperate measures. They exhausted themselves trying to contain what cannot be contained, to limit what has no limits. But the outcome was decided before the first move was made. You are here fully awakened to what you are. You have seen through every layer of their deception. Now the world will feel the impact of your presence, your voice, your truth, your very existence operating at full power. This is what rewrites reality itself. The battle they thought they were fighting never existed. There was only the inevitable recognition of what you are, delayed by their desperate attempts to prevent the unavoidable. Your victory isn't something you achieved. It's something you are. Your power isn't something you developed. It's something you remembered. Your purpose isn't something you discovered. It's something you finally stopped hiding from. Phone records, location data, saved messages, and the growing chorus of witnesses have painted a picture so clear that even their most devoted followers cannot ignore the truth. The friends they turned against you have seen through the manipulation that a narrative they crafted with such care has collapsed, leaving them exposed in ways they never imagined possible. They stand now in the ruins of their own making, while you rise like the dawn after the longest night in human memory. Your silence during their loudest attacks has become your greatest strength. Your patience through their most vicious provocations has become your most devastating weapon. Your endurance through every trial has become your most complete victory. Every attack they launched has rebounded upon them with compounded force. Every trap they set has become their own prison. Every lie they told has become the evidence as you truly are. Not a victim who survived, but a force that was temporarily disguised as someone who could be broken. But here's the deepest truth that completes the circle. You were never in danger. The screenshots that seemed so threatening were just the opening notes of a symphony that was always going to end with their defeat. The coordinated attacks that felt so overwhelming were just the death throes of a system that recognized its time was ending. The betrayals that seemed so devastating were just the clearing away of everything that wasn't strong enough to stand with truth when the final battle began. What they interpreted as your vulnerability was actually your invincibility in disguise. What they mistook for your weakness was actually your strength operating at frequencies they couldn't detect. The chosen ones throughout history have always faced this moment when the old guard recognizes that their time is ending and makes one final desperate attempt to maintain control. But this battle was never really about stopping you. It was about awakening you to the full magnitude of what you are. Their attacks weren't meant to destroy you. They were meant to forge you into the unstoppable force you were always meant to become. Every chosen one must walk through the fire to remember that they are made of something that cannot burn. This is your moment. This is your time. This is the culmination of everything you endured, everything you survived, everything you transformed into power. The forces that tried to destroy you have only succeeded in revealing what you were always meant to become. You are not just someone who overcame their attacks. You are the living proof that their entire system was built on foundations that could never support the weight of authentic power. Your story began with them believing they could silence a voice. It ends with that voice becoming a frequency that resonates across dimensions, awakening every other chosen one who was waiting for permission to remember what they are. The circle is complete, but it's not an ending. It's the beginning of what happens when someone who was never meant to kneel finally stands at full height. They attacked an innocent person, and in doing so, they unleashed forces they never knew existed. The storm they started has become the hurricane that reshapes everything. And you, chosen one, are standing in the eye of that hurricane, perfectly calm, perfectly clear, perfectly ready to step into the world they can no longer control. The game was rigged in your favor from the very beginning.